Welcome back to Moto Exotica. I have a quick, interesting update for you guys on our 1981 Toyota pickup truck. This truck to the left of me is no doubt the nicest example out there. I can pretty much say it is restored to better than factory condition. This truck is gorgeous. I have really enjoyed my time working on this truck. This truck is now sold. But the reason why it's really interesting that it's sold, it kind of led and timing was really perfect. This is going to a collector out in Colorado. He's a very smart collector. He knows that putting money in this car right now, the nicest example, down the line, I think he's gonna do A-okay. And not only that, it's just from my generation, this is one of the neatest trucks to even be in front of. I know there's a lot of people who grew up about my age are gonna say the same thing on this truck. But we pan over real quick to my other side. We have a real deal 1978 Toyota Wolverine. Yes, this is a factory Wolverine. This is a real Wolverine. A lot of people are gonna be like, what is a Wolverine? Well, that's what I'm gonna talk about real quick. I'm gonna show you what's really cool about this car because the gentleman who bought this truck also bought this truck, and his truck is on the way to pick these two trucks up. So real quickly, let's go through this truck. In the late 70s, Toyota did not offer a factory 4x4. The Toyota pickup trucks were available to the American market, but only in two-wheel drive. So basically, you went into a Toyota dealership and you ordered the Wolverine package. Out in Van Nuys, California was a company who was customizing a lot of things for the mini truck market. And the parent company was Warren Winches, which Warren is still around today. One of those companies was California Bed. They're the ones who made the fiberglass step side for these trucks. So if you order the Wolverine package, you could have got this fiberglass bed in the back, which really makes the look of the truck. As of right now, there's not many of these out there. I have researched like crazy on these trucks. This is probably the only one that's in existence that has full documentation paperwork that it's a real Wolverine. It still contains its Wolverine parts. This is how the 4x4 Toyota market started. Very big piece of history right here. One big note real quick, the back bumper, it kind of protrudes pretty far out. This is kind of Wolverine's trademark. It's a big deal on this truck that it's still here and it's still in its original bracketry and all that good stuff. So you always know a Wolverine by the big bumper in the back. Let's travel on real quick. We talked about the fiberglass step side. It's definitely the trademark of the Wolverine in my opinion. Also optional were different mushroom bars for your KC lights, your daylighters in the back. Go really well with the bed again. As we walk on real quick, the graphics, a lot of the Wolverines just had crazy graphics. This car was restored to its pretty correct of how the graphics really looked. Inside, they didn't do much to the pickup truck other than add the transfer case selector for your 4x4. As we travel on, go to the front, the big deal on this is the conversion. So basically for 4x4 conversion, they made these adapters. And what this adapter does, there's 5 for each truck, so finding the 5th one is pretty rare. But this lets you use the stock Toyota two-wheel drive disc brakes, calipers, along with basically everything. So you got to use the stock brakes, but this adapted so you can put a 4x4 hub on. So this truck has all 4. If you want to put a spare in the back, you still have it. It's straight aluminum, it's really light. Pretty cool piece, kind of hard to find those. Another part of the Wolverine, underneath, they made a custom aluminum oil pan. And that was to clear the new front axle. The front axle that they put was basically a Dana 30 in the front. For all 4x4, they made the oil pan. And this one's actually also got the custom made by Wolverine skid plate. That was an option, not all of them have it. The real hard to find part on a real Wolverine is the adapter plate for the stock 5-speed transmission. The adapter plate basically went to a Dana 20 transfer case, still used the Toyota transmission. This truck still has that piece. It's a very hard to find piece if you're trying to restore a real Wolverine or if you have one out there. So basically, that's how they did it. Ordered this, came as basically through the dealership, a 4x4. This one's a 1978. Wolverine made these conversion trucks for, about about 4 years. The factory 4x4 came in '79 from Toyota. So basically that put Wolverine's deal out of business. They did make a 2-wheel drive version that was kind of like a pre-runner truck. I've seen magazine articles of that truck, but I have not seen one that's still out there or even still surviving. So if anyone knows where one of those, that would be kind of cool. But basically that's a real Wolverine. This particular truck has very cool history, story, documentation. One of the most important aspects of this basically factory real deal Wolverine is its paperwork, its documentation, its story, where it came from, and all that good stuff. Always my favorite part on a real unique car is the story, where it came from, its history, its documentation. I love unique cars. I absolutely love unique cars that have a story or history and documentation that stands behind it. It's just very fun to dig down in the history and see where the truck came from, why. I'm always have those questions in my head when I'm researching these things. So did a lot of research on this car. I had a lot of help. This truck came from Cape Girardeau day one. It was ordered at Westcote Toyota in 1978. What's really cool I have the paperwork, and how do I know all this story is, first of all, this is the original Toyota for this truck. And we open up the quick first page and you get to see the original owner and all that stuff and where it was sold in Cape Girardeau. Everything, the VIN numbers, all the numbers still match on this truck. So sold at Westcote. The coolest part of the paperwork, I have the actual invoice from Cape Girardeau, from the dealership, and see how much the Wolverine package was. So we see right here, Wolverine package, along with the rear tube bumper. So the package basically started at $3,400. That was just to get the conversion. And then like the other things, the options, it could get even more expensive. So we got the front grille guard as an extra option. It was interior sealed, and basically the truck was $5,092 new. The package was $3,900. So the truck out the door was $9,000. So almost half the value was just in the Wolverine package. So pretty expensive package. You had to be pretty confident if you ordered one of these that you could sell it. Westcote liked the funky thing, so it makes sense that they bought and sold this. So original owner buys it. He had it for a very long time. In the late 90s, he sold it to another gentleman in Cape Girardeau who I purchased the truck from him. So it's a 2-owner truck, always been in Cape Girardeau. I was basically the first person to take this truck, permanently ever out of Cape Girardeau since new. Another real cool about the paperwork is I have the original Wolverine limited warranty, and I have the operating instructions, which goes how to work the 4x4 straight from Wolverine. I haven't really even seen copies or anything on the internet on this, so this might be the only one still in existence. But basically in '76, when the Wolverine package first came out, the 4x4, all the local 4x4, the magazines were all over it, so there's kind of cool article about the Wolverine generally, and you can see the graphics are very similar to the one we got here. And flipping through real quick is we have some pretty cool dealer advertisements of the Wolverine across the country. People trying to sell them over the years. This is the California Bed Company. You could buy the bed separately, but you only could do the Wolverine package through a Toyota dealership. And here's, you can kind of see out in Van Nuys, this is when they were doing the conversion. Not the greatest photo, but that's kind of the gist of the history of this truck. It is going to a new owner. It's the same gentleman that bought our Absolute Concourse 1981 Toyota pickup truck. This truck is very, very rare. It's got all the documentation. It's in pretty good shape. It's in a really nice amateur restoration that was done maybe about 5 years ago. I think the new owner is going to restore it and bring this truck to the level the 81 is, and he's really gonna have something extremely special if he does this, because I don't think there's a Wolverine left out there that still has all its components and the documentation and the history to support it. So hope you guys learned a little bit about the Wolverine. It's a really neat truck. It was only around for a couple years, but today it's 2019, and right now the hottest cars are still 4x4 trucks. American market loves the 4x4 trucks. Even if it's an American brand or a Japanese brand, both sides are on fire and have been. But on the Japanese side, this is really the truck where it started that market. Really, at the time, the late 70s, you didn't have many options for a mini Japanese truck, a 4x4. So this is where it all started. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you from Moto Exotica.